Welcome to our weekly Q&A show where we answer submitted questions live on YouTube on Tuesdays at 2 p.m.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me. If you can't hear me, please say so. I'm trying a new software thing out. And welcome to our Tuesday Q&A show that we're doing on Monday. This is where we answer questions we receive throughout the week or weeks. We usually receive them through Whitewater Guidebook. So if you do want to submit a question in the future, go to whitewaterguidebook.com and under Gear Garage, click add a question or comment. This is the best way to get your question answered. Or you could go to the rafting forum here and just submit something in the forum. But the best way is to go to this question thing. We get it, we catalog it, we organize it. If you ask me by text or email or Facebook, I may or may not get back to your question. Not because I don't want to, just because I get it. If I'm doing something, I get a text, I read it, I go, oh, cool. But then I forget that it's there and I don't think about it. We're here, it's cataloged correctly. So this is where we answer questions throughout the week. And I enjoy answering the questions if I know the answer. I feel very competent when I answer the question. So thanks for asking ones that I enjoy answering. We'll do our best to answer the ones we don't. The beautiful thing about doing this live is that I don't have to answer all the questions. So if you're watching and you're an expert and you want to answer the question the same as I do, differently than I do, or better than I do, throw your answer in there. That helps a lot. I don't know everything. I'm trying to. I mean, I'd love to know everything, but I just don't. So with that, let's get started with the first question. I do know a lot about this one, and it's what's your opinion on this magic formula? Oar-lock beam divided by 2 times 3 plus 6 equals oar length in inches. So yeah, I have complex thoughts, very complex thoughts. So much that I brought a whiteboard today to do this. So let me give some background here. A lot of people think that oar length is oar-lock beam, which is the distance between oar-locks divided by 2 times 3. The idea is if these are the oar-locks here, the idea is that a third of your oar-lock is on the inside and 2/3 is on the outside. I think that's where people get this from. Like, cut this distance in half, so the half of your oar is here. So the half of this distance is here, and there's 1/3 in, 2/3 out. Whoever came up with that general thing really didn't try very hard. It's a very basic, just quick thing. And if you do that, if you divide by 2 and multiply by 3, that is multiplying by 1.5. So let's just say, like, a lot of people are going to say that, like, that you take, we'll call this distance here O for oar-lock. That's just O. So, and then the length of the oar you want, we'll call L. Right? So the length of the oar is L. The distance between the oar-locks is O. So historically, people would say, hey, the length of the oar is 1.5 times O. It's very simplistic. It's a great thing just to tell customer service people in a shop or in a web or a call center. It's wrong, though. In my opinion, I feel strongly about this. I get tons of people who show up to our classes with oars that are too short. And I go, why do you have these short oars? And they say, well, so-and-so told me divide by 2 and multiply by 3, which is, again, the same as multiplying by 1.5. And I give them longer oars. They have success. They ask me how they sell their oars. I tell them how they can sell the oars. They buy new oars. I've done this so many times. I just know this is just horrible. What this magic formula is the same thing. It's pretty close. So length, it's saying length is 1.5 times the oar length plus 6 inches. So I think this is better. Just take whatever this historic formula was and just add 6 inches. Boom, done. You have a longer oar. Works. It's better than this. I'm just going to tell you. Better than this formula. You want 6 inch or longer inch oars than this formula. And part of the reason is what happens is, and I'm going to do a little aside here. When you do 1/3 on the inside, 2/3 on the outside, it turns out the 2/3 on the outside isn't long enough to reach the water. So people scoot their oars out, and their oar handles end up being like here and here to get the oar out where they need it to be. So they use the formula for length, but they have to do this so their oars touch the water and they're rowing like this, which is hard on your shoulders, can cause problems. You can see how if I'm rowing like with wide arms, you don't have a good lever for strength, but your shoulders are also exposed to injury. You want to be rowing like you're doing a push-up, not like this. So you want to have hands like this, not out. And so I see tons of people with this, and it ends up being less than 1/3 on the inside and more than 2/3 on the outside. What you want is, in my opinion, you really want your handles to almost touch when the oars. I'm jumping around here, so I'm moving quick. I'm going to switch to this. So when your oars are down low, you want them touching or almost touching, or I even run them overlapping. But you don't want them. You don't want a lot of distance. Now, some people will say you don't want your oars touching because you'll smash your thumbs, which can happen. If you're not careful, it can happen. So maybe have a little bit of a gap. But I'm gonna like touching because I'm not rowing like this. I'm rowing up here. So if they're barely touching here, they're not touching where I'm rowing. This is where I'm actually rowing. This is where they're parallel to each other. So again, they're barely touching here, but your hands are rarely doing this. Now, when you're pushing and you're doing a return stroke, yeah, they are, right? Or if you're pulling on the oars and coming forward, they can be down low. You have to be a little bit careful in that position. But I want my handles, again, barely touching, not touching at all. And I commonly run overlapping. That's just me. You don't have to run overlapping. You may not like that. And so you'll need more oar so you have enough oar at the outside to have them that close. Okay, so let's go back. Please do not use this formula. Please. This is better. This is really good. But after studying, it doesn't work as well for the wider oar lengths, the wider distance between the oar locks. And it doesn't work really well for the close ones. It gives you, for like mini maxes, the 6 inches will be too long. And for the big 18-foot gearboats, this will be quite a bit too less. So I've done a video about this before. I'm going to say that the length of your oar should just be 1.63 times the O. That's not 0. Let's make this a little that. Cool. Just do 1.63 times. It's going to be great. It's close to the 6-inch thing. A really common oar length or distance between the oar locks is 70 inches. It's a very common distance between the oar locks. So let's go to here. If I do 70 inches times 1.5, if I do that, oh wait, sorry. I mean, maybe it's 60 inches. That's too much. Let me double check. Yeah, so 60 inches is a pretty common distance between oar locks. 70 inches is as well. But for like 13 to 16-foot boats, 60 inches is pretty common. So this will give you, if you use this formula, this will give you, say, hey, let's use a 9-foot oar, right? This formula, let's do that and add 6 inches. 1.5 times that is a 9.6. And if I do 1.63, oops. I get like, oh wait, hold on. I'm making mistakes here. I gotta be careful here. So let's go back. Hold on. I think I was right. 70. I'm doing this too fast. 70 inches. I think it is 70 inches a common times 1.5 gives you 105 inches. Then you have to divide by 12. Yep. So sorry, I need to keep this in inches. But yeah, that gives you, let's go back. Let's fix this. 8.75 feet. So for a 70-inch distance between oar locks, that gives you 8.75 foot oar. If you do that and add 6 inches, that's going to give you half a foot. So that's going to give you a 9.25. Right? And then if you just do 70 times 1.63 and then divide by 12, go up to feet, that's going to give you 9.5. So for what I think is the most common distance between oar locks, which is about 70 inches, everybody can measure theirs. the formula here, if you call, I don't know, somebody doesn't really row that much, they'll use this formula. You can have 8 3/4 foot oars, a bit too short. This plus 6-inch formula, 9.25, that's better. But I have found that 9.5 feet is the right length for a 70-inch between the oar lock distance. And then for me, I'll either like add half a foot if I'm really good at oar management, or if I'm struggling with the oars, I'll take off half a foot. So I'll be between 9 and 10 feet on a 70-inch between the oar lock distance. Okay, sorry for making that mistake earlier if it's going off track. Hopefully this makes sense. So, and I probably have great comments here. Let's go back to the question. So my opinion is this formula is going to give you too short of oars, right? My opinion is don't use this, no matter, that's what a lot of people are telling you to use. Please don't use this. This one's going to be better. It's going to add a little distance to the oars. But once you get to like the 18-foot boats, this is going to be quite a bit shorter, but it's better. But I'm a firm believer. I have tested this over many oar frames, many comes a boat. I'm just this 1.63, multiply by that, and you're done. Okay, let's go. How does tube diameter or distance from oar lock? How does tube diameter or distance of lock change from water changes? So, Dustin, one time I looked at this and I took in all kinds of things. I was a mechanical engineer by training, and so I really enjoy the math. And I looked at like this distance here. Just a few other key factors, like the how tall somebody's sitting, where they're sitting, all kinds of things. It turns out like those things matter a little bit, but not that much. And so if you have really big tubes and are really tall oar locks, yeah, you're going to need a longer oar. Maybe add on just a few inches, maybe 4 inches, 6 inches, depending. But honestly, like the distance between the oar locks blows everything else away. And so I could have this super complicated formula that's like, has all kinds of inputs and things when it's going to be really close to this. And I think I'm going to tell you, this is 10 times better than this, right? This is terrible. This is 10 times better. You could probably come up with the exact formula that includes oar tube diameter and oar lock height and oar lock distance and the person's shoulders and everything. You could come up with one. It would be like 20% better, right? So going from 10 times better to 20% better, it doesn't factor that much in. Sorry, crazy aside. The length of the oar is the length of the oar. It's the length of the oar. So it includes the blades. It's how long the oar is. So an oar, if your oar looks like this, the length of the oar is how long the oar is. It has nothing to do with just the shaft. The blade, there's different blade sizes. And so yes, it absolutely includes the blades. I'm used to running whatever set people have already, so I'm indifferent at this point. Yeah. Just take what people give you and row it. I see that all the time. People come to my course. This is why I'm so passionate about this, why I've thought about this so much. I have people come to do a private class with us for 2 days. They spend a bunch of money. They spend whatever, it's $1,000 with us, hotels, food, transportation, and we spend 2 days together. And I enjoy doing private instruction, but it's not like a important part of my business. Like I should be doing other things than 2 days of private instruction. And so I enjoy doing it, but I'm not begging people to do it. Like I do it because I enjoy doing it. But I don't need to do it. I don't need to push these private instruction courses. Sorry, that was a whole other weird aside. But people sometimes show up and I sit down with their boat and I'm like, yeah, your oars are too short. And by giving them the right length oars, they just row, they're fine, done. Like I feel like I have done several classes where people between the cost of paying me and everything else, they spent like $2,000 on a 2-day class with me. And it just changed the oars and they're rowing great. And so having the right, I feel firmly that having the right size oars is crucial. It's just crucial. Jesse, you're probably rowing great. but you could do even better. Like you would be rowing even better, using better muscle groups, be more efficient. But it does depend on things like other things like how your some people have these oar locks way too long. That's a mistake. Or they sit way too high in the boat. That's a mistake. There's other factors too, but oar length is such a big deal. Okay. I'm gonna get some questions here before we move on. And one of the Morrison's trips on the road, and they had this hidden policy that won't let us use duckies and fish ladder, Blossom Bar, Mule Creek, and there's only 2 duckies. You were on a guided trip. You were being guided by somebody else. They can make whatever safety decision they want. I don't. It's not hidden. They just didn't tell you. Like they're guiding you down the river. I'm on the side of Morrison's. So I mean, maybe they didn't hide it from you. They never told you could to begin with. And sometimes we and it's up to the guides whether you ducky any of those things anyway. Like we don't let anybody do Blossom Bar ever. So that's not a hidden policy. We just don't. Sometimes fish ladder, sometimes Mule Creek, but that's totally up to the guides. And so yeah, I mean they're responsible for your safety. So when you show up, they're going to be responsible for the safety and they're going to err on the side of caution. And so it's not BS. It's what they're doing. Now, if you want to run those things, go get a permit, get your own gear and go. But when you're being guided, that's their responsibility to make these safety decisions for you. And you should, in my humble opinion, abide by those things. Okay. We're in the middle of Fork Salmon asking you a bunch of questions before we left. Say thank you. Oh, yeah. Did you make all your plans got tossed to the blowout? But you made it in though, right? It sounds like you made it in. Yeah. The blowout changed everything. I'm glad you got a flight because they were hard to get. They're still hard to get. Get some support. Glad to have Mirror. Yeah, it's good to have something. It's good to have some. I think we're getting back to like rowing setups. It's great to have something, but if we, man, there's just so many oar boats out there with the wrong size oar. And people would have more success. They would be safer. They would have more fun if they had the right size oar to match their oar boat. It would just like not everybody, a lot of people are handicapping themselves. And it's because of this stupid equation. This isn't bad. I don't mind this, but this I firmly believe is the answer. And this is after many, many, many people showing up with their boat, go, oh, cool. Go row your oars for a bit. Now try mine. Cool. Like you're better. Made it to Indian. Just missed formally everything settled. We had a smooth trip. Yeah, I think the plane crash was there's a lot of rumors out there, but I think they were flying from Salmon to Boise, and that was just like an emergency landing because of something went wrong. It wasn't like it wasn't as bad as everybody thinks. Yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody did all right. Blossom Bar is way too dangerous to let relatively unknown people do it. Yeah. I mean, you could tell me you're a class 5 kayaker and you want to go on one of our road trips. I'd be like, cool. You're not going to run Blossom. Like, but I'm a class 5 kayaker. I kayaked all like, cool. Go when we're responsible for you. We have a duty to be responsible for you. I'm not going to let you do things I deem unsafe. And that's just how it is. Like I get a lot of flack for this, the same way Morrison's getting flack for it too. But we have a duty to provide a responsible, safe trip. And so if we don't feel comfortable with anybody doing anything, we're going to tell them they can't do it. And we have policies about certain things. Hidden is a little strong. I mean, I don't advertise on our front page that people can't ducky. It's not on our website. You can't ducky Blossom, but it's about being in the place. It's about going down the Rogue River and sharing with their family and camping with your friends and having a good time. It's not about kayaking Blossom. If it is, go get you're experienced, get a permit, run your own trip. That's not what outfitted trips do. Sorry to go on a rant about that. Yep, that's what happened. Yep. The fire is still pretty bad as far as I know, but people are still running it. Okay, let's go on to the next question here. Let me see if I can figure out how to add this back in. Okay. Saw a commercial group on Gatesville door without AKs. No one was running them through Hell's Half Mile. Yeah. I mean, if you look, just to go back on this topic, if you look at fatalities on multi-day river trips, the number one cause is inflatable kayaks. So, yeah, we're going to be cautious. Yep, absolutely be cautious. Okay. Where are we? Okay, next question. What's your preferred high float PFD for whitewater kayaking? Doesn't have to be a rescue, but that would be a plus, but would prefer it have front pockets. Just to use the term rescue PFD, I'm starting to really dislike that term because you can do rescues without a rescue PFD. Like, you don't have to have a rescue PFD to do rescues. And in fact, the harness is rarely used in rescues. Most rescues are going to get the person going to get them, not tying yourself to a harness. So I'm starting to dislike the term rescue, but whatever. I brought mine out. This is what I'm wearing right now. Let me put myself big. Oh, geez, this is hard. The Stolquist Descent. I've had this PFD, the old version of this, and now the new version of this, for quite a while. And this is my favorite right now. The Astro Green Jacket's a great jacket. It's been around for, 10 years. I wish they would innovate and make it better, but they haven't. And this one they've innovated, made it better. You can see that the foam is curved now, so it's really comfortable. Like, having curved foam is super cool. This pocket I like more than the green jacket pocket. It doesn't do the whole thing where it lays out. It can, where it comes down, you can put a sandwich on it. But I like that more because I can put my phone in there and zip it up really quick and just drop things in there, paddle rapid if I have to. But the pocket is better than the one on the green jacket. I think there's more little nice neoprene things, and I'm digging this pocket. It has this really weird pocket here that basically only holds sunscreen, which I really like for the whistle. I almost think they did this just to make the whistle a nice spot right here. And then there's this pocket, which I've never used, but you could put, something in there. God, it'd be so cool, though, if they had a special phone pocket on these. It seems like not that hard to do. Everybody has their phones with them now. And I will pull up. Let's see if I can pull this up. Go to ask Stolquist. Go to their website. Whitewater PFDs. This is Descent. I think that the bigger ones have more flotation. Oh, Tie 5, 17 pounds. So it looks like maybe not. 17. I thought that the bigger ones had more flotation. But the Astro has 16 and a half. This has 17. So it's half a pound more flotation. So I'm a pretty big fan of this PFD right now. The big problem with this PFD is that this zipper is going to break. Like, I have a friend who's already broken his after a year. And once you break a zipper, they won't fix it because they can't adjust PFD. So hopefully it's a warranty when the zipper breaks. The Astro PFD has a great durable zipper. I've rarely seen the Astro PFD zippers break. I don't know why people use these smaller zippers. Like, we would want the most durable zipper possible. So the zipper will break, especially if you are just shoving this full of things, and every time you close it, you're just like, barely closing it. But I've been wearing this for kayaking for a year now. I've been exclusively taking this one out. For guiding, I don't like it as much. I do like that it's also a side. It's not an over the head like the green jacket. You have to berth yourself through. It has this little zipper thing on the side, which I like too. It's easier to put on. So I like everything about this except for that zipper, which is going to break. So that's the one I recommend for kayaking. For high float, let's go back to, how do I get back to this? For high float PFD for whitewater kayaking, that's my favorite kayaking PFD. I don't really have an answer because it's hard to, you want mobility. For me, kayaking, I don't want some big bulky thing. I'll paddle better if I'm not constantly hitting my arms on my PFD. So the NRS, I've seen people kayak with, let's go back to this. It's the NRS Pro Guide PFD, whatever it's called. It's the one we recommend for rafting, the Big Water Guide. This is pretty much, am I there? This is pretty much the only PFD that a big water, like high floatish PFD I like that exists. Like there are some ones that historically were made, but they stopped making them. So I've seen people kayak with this. It's going to be bulky and annoying. But if you want high float, I've never kayaked with this, but this is probably your best bet. Yeah. And there's some other PFDs I really like as well, but they're not Coast Guard approved. There's some Palm PFDs that I really like too, with a little more flotation, like 18 pounds, 19 pounds. But in the US, they just don't make high float anything that's very good. Okay, let's get back to some of these questions here. My point is, I wish outfitters would make these policies known in their itinerary, but I'm planning on doing a solo pack trip on the road next week, and I guess I get what I want. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. We don't write it in our itinerary. We don't say, and at this particular place, we can't let you take duckies. Yeah, and so we're the same. It's not a hidden policy. It's just that we don't. I didn't even think to write it in the itinerary. We're trying to, like here you won't run duckies through. There's so many great ducky rapids on the Rogue to miss out on. Like, let's see, we talked about, well, Mule Creek Canyon is a big one, but missing out on Blossom and the Fish Ladder is like, whatever, 6 minutes of a trip. So to be bummed about 6 minutes, I don't know. Mule Creek Canyon is a tough one. Yeah, I'm not sure. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I'm not gonna suggest you do a solo trip, but it's technically not solo, I guess, because there's people around. But if you're in Mule Creek Canyon by yourself in a pack raft and you swim, that's not gonna be fun. So I'm not gonna approve your solo pack raft trip. I took a pack raft down Mule Creek Canyon once and swam. So it's yeah. Anyway, I wish you the best. MTI Big Boy Buoy PFD is one of the only high float PFDs I've used without awful ergonomics. I think they stopped making it though. So we can go back here. They did stop making it. MTI made some really good big high float PFD. So that was the ones that I would say, that's what you want. Looks like REI has this, not available. This I don't see. Yeah, let's see what this is. This looks kind of cool, but it looks like it's sold out. Yeah. So MTI got bought by Mustang Survival, a Canadian company, and they stopped making all their like cool high flow PFDs. So if you can get a big buoy, great. I rescued somebody wearing a big buoy this spring, and I'm pretty sure that high flow PFD saved his life. Like it was rough in that high float PFD. I can't imagine if he was not in a high float PFD. If you're heavily concerned with big water and low flotation, I guess got it. Yep. Yeah, Jesse, they just don't make it anymore. You can't get it. And so all those, there's the MTI Atlas, there's a bunch of them. And yeah. Oh man, I totally forgot about the NRS Zen. That is a great point. Let's go back. The NRS Zen should be the standard. I totally spaced on that. Let's see if I can find it. It's a comfy looking PFD is this the one? 18 pounds of flotation. Yep. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of, and this has that pocket you're looking for. So I'm not a huge fan of NRS PFDs. In general, but it's hard to beat 18 pounds of flotation in a kayaking PFD. So this is the ticket. I think that's the ticket. Okay, back to this. Thanks, Tab 2 Adventures. That's why we do this as a live show, because I totally forgot that. And you're a hero. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. Oh, Jesus, add this back. Okay, so we think we killed that to death. Let's take a second and thank our sponsor, GoRafting.com. So for those of you that watch the show lately, know that they're a sponsor. This is my only sponsor, and I'm super grateful. I feel cool for them sponsoring the show. They make really cool maps of the rivers that we love, and so you can look at different guides they make. For example, and there's this great deal. You can get the classics, like a whole bunch of maps for $50. It's pretty sweet. What you do is you download the Far Out app, which is a separate app. They do not, the guys that go rafting do not make this app. They're not responsible for it. There's some company called Far Out that makes this Far Out app. And then the guys that go rafting make all the river maps for them. So the guys at Far Out, the people at Far Out make hiking maps, I think. They make a bunch of maps, but there's whitewater maps, and it's the perfect platform. I used it on the Grand Canyon this spring. I loved it. There's the Grand Canyon map right there. It's $24.99. It's included in the Whitewater Classics, I think. So you might as well just buy the classics. The Middle Fork is $19.99. And the sweet thing is you have your phone in front of you, and it just tells you where you're at. And you can look at yourself on a map. You can see the map view, or there's an inline view. And I wish I could show you what it looked like, but it just tells you, not even on a map, just in words, the next thing's coming up. So you don't have to like find the dots on the map. It's like Lava Falls, 2.2 miles, Tequila Beach, 2.3 miles. And so it'll just show you the order of things coming up. You say a map view or list view. It's awesome. And it tells you the distance away. You can download photos. So when you're on the river, you can be like, oh yeah, that's that place. You can pull your phone out and be like, yep, that's where we're at. And it's way easier to figure things out. And they have a good number of maps. They don't have all the rivers in the world, but they have some of the best ones. I'm going to the Glacial River next month, so I'm gonna see if I can check that one out. So the day trip ones are pretty affordable. Nugget Rogue, does this include? Oh, it's a free download. That's cool. So if you're gonna go do the Nugget section of the Rogue, try it out for free. They have all kinds of cool runs on here, and they're adding more. And I really would encourage everybody to, if you're going to get river maps, buy these. It's a handful of dudes who are boaters, and they're adding more and more. The more we buy of these, the more they'll make. It's like this is their job. So if they're not selling any, they probably have to be like, all right, we're done making these. So if they make money, they'll keep going out and making more and more of them, which I think is really cool. So anyway, thank you, GoRafting.com, for sponsoring the show. Makes us feel very cool to have a sponsor. All right. Enough of that. We appreciate them. All right. You've created something else. Telfer Resources, thanks. They've taken our classes. Wow, yeah, thank you. And now Run Water's out of reach. That's so cool to hear that some stuff we're doing is helping you boat. I heard Aaron is no longer part of the shows. Where'd you hear that? I don't know. Is this accurate? No, we're just taking a break. The last few live shows I did with Aaron, we argued so much, and it just wasn't fun for me. I just stopped having fun with it. And so I want to take a break for a little while. And I'm gonna start doing some, instead of doing like the shows, which I put a lot of time and energy into. I was spending 4 hours a week doing these shows, on the shows, and then another hour or two of prep. And that's time I could go boating. I'm running a business. I could be running my business better. And so I just realized all the time I was putting into it, plus not enjoying it, I needed to take a break from it. So, I'm going to do these Q&A shows by myself, which they'll be much shorter because I'm not arguing with Aaron the whole time. And then the Friday show, we're just going to take a break from. We may come back to it. I have no idea. But I'm just doing a members only show that's like 20, 30 minutes on Fridays when I can. Like this Friday, I'm gone, so I can't. But I'm just trying to make this fun for me again. And it stopped being fun for me. It became work. And so I didn't enjoy it. So I stopped. All right. Thanks, Chris. Paul. What's up, Paul? Stolquist at a buoy. Oh, yeah. There's the Stolquist one that I was just showing you. Thanks, Paul. I'm pretty sure this is what you're talking about. The Stolquist PFD has a flotation you can put in here. So there's a pod to add 5 pounds. I haven't tried it yet, and it's going to make it harder to get back in the boat, but it's pretty sweet, 5 extra pounds. I've heard a rumor that Astral is maybe going to make a higher flotation green jacket, which would be awesome. I mean, I think a lot of people would buy that. It may not be financially worth it for them. I have no idea, because I don't think the market for high flow PFDs is as great as we all think it is. But a lot of us would be super appreciative to have like a nice PFD with more flotation. I just did IRF course last week here in the gorge, and if you're swimming, we were doing swim tests and flipping boats. You want a good PFD with flotation to do both. So yeah, enjoy watching us bicker over the smallest stuff. Yeah, we'll figure it out. It was driving me. I was getting tired of it. It was wearing me out. Okay, back here. How do you decide how many groovers to bring? Most groovers have a number of uses till they're full. Do you count one per use per person per day? Depends on the groover. Yeah, I mean, I would say there's a few different groovers out there. I can't imagine buying anything but a Selway. The Selway toilets, I'll Google it right now. I've used them all, and I can't imagine using it. Why would anybody use anything but a Selway? It just doesn't make any sense. If Selway called me to sponsor the show, I'd be like, why? Like, I'm going to promote you guys anyway. You guys, I mean, same thing, I guess, with Go Rafting. Like, I guess I could sit here and have a little sponsored by Selway Fabrication, but there's no competition. These are the best groovers, right? So, like, they're plastic, so they're, which is nice. They're not metal. They make a few different things. The plastic seems sketchy, but it's really nice to have a plastic thing in your boat. If you fall on it, it's not going to hurt as bad. It's just a solid system. And I had all Johnny partners. I've had so many problems with those in the past. I slowly switched from Johnny partner to these. I can't imagine. I don't even know how to make it better. So these are the way to go. Getting back to the question, how do you decide how many to bring? My rule of thumb is 1 per 30 people per night. And I think that's plenty of space. Now, if you call Selway, you can ask them how many poops it takes. I called them once and asked them, and I forgot the number, but because I was on a trip where we were using this one for a ducky trip to Mini Bank, and I was a little worried we'd run out of space. And so I called them, say, how many people poops per day is this? And then he knows, or whatever. It's like 48 or something. I don't know, whatever it was. So they know. But when we choose groovers, I know that on a full-size trip, which is for us 30 people, that one groover can handle that no problem. I mean, you can't be peeing in it too much, right? You can pee in it some, but you can't just like have everybody peeing in it. It will fill. So if I'm doing a road trip, it's 3 nights, 3 groovers. I'm doing a middle fork trip, 5 nights, 5 groovers. And that's for 30 people. So if you have 15 people, then a groover can last 2 nights. So then I'm specifically talking about the Selway. Johnny partner the same. Selway and Johnny partners have about the same capacity. If you're using some other groover, you have to call them and ask. Have a number of uses. I think when they measure the groovers, they measure the average amount of a person's excrement per day. There's some number. We studied this before. We don't need to get into it now, but an average person relieves themselves of like however much it is. It's like a small Ziploc of poop every day. And whether they poop once or 4 times, it's about this. I mean, it's going to be about the same. They just do 4 small poops or 1 big poop, right? And that's the average person. So, when I asked Selway, they're like, "Oh yeah, that it can handle 35 people poops." That was not how many individual times they went. That was just people per day. Okay, hopefully I answered that question. All right, inflatable kayaks. I'm looking at a blunt-ended IK, super smart for multi-day trips, and avoid pointy-ended IKs due to drops weight. Hopefully, it sounds like this. These are the words I say. The pointy-ended IKs are, and first of all, not even great anyway. Like, why would you want pointy ends? Like, cut those points off. I wish somebody would make an IK and just cut the points off. But for multi-days, having less flotation in the front, in the back, the bow on the stern, makes it harder to put gear up there and have the boat float. Same thing with rafts. I don't know why people would want diminishing tube rafts for multi-day trips, because you put your weight in the bow on the stern, and there's less volume there to lift it up. Anyway, so we don't need to get into that. So yeah, blunt-ended IKs I think are super smart. Not hiking in, so weight isn't a big deal. The jumbo's awesome at $3,500. Yeah, that's just outrageously expensive. I probably paid for mine 7 years ago, 2,000. I'm just guessing somewhere. I would not pay 3,500 for it now. And I designed that boat and I use that boat, but I wouldn't pay 3,500. The cool thing about it is it uses a super lightweight fabric. So it only weighs 22 pounds for such a big boat, which is pretty amazing. So I think part of what you're paying is that super light fabric. Not many other blunted end kayaks out there. No, it's a bummer. Sotar. So I designed a blunted end kayak for Sotar, and we called it the ATV. And that's what we used on the Chetco for our first Chetco trips. It was basically, my idea was, let's take an alpaca and make it longer and make it symmetrical. So I love the bow of the alpaca. So I want to put that on a ducky. And so the ATV, and then I just took the ATV design, I tweaked it a little bit and had a wing make the Jimbo. So they're pretty much the same boats. I don't know if Sotar will still make the ATV, but they might. I don't know. The Cronin Ugly Ducky is like taking the Jimbo. It's, I mean, literally the same. Everything is the same, pretty much. This is crazy. Like, and Matt just came up with this on. You take the Jimbo and you just give it a rocker. It's the same size, same width, same size tubes, same length. It's, well, the Cronin boat is shorter because it's tilted up. But if you laid it flat, I'm pretty sure it's the same length. So I think that, going back, how do we get back into this? Showing the question. There we go. Looking at the Cronin Ugly Ducky, I think it's the only one out there, unless you can get Sotar to make the ATV again. But haven't heard much in the last 5 years. He's still selling them. It's still a thing. He just isn't. I don't feel like he's being as. I don't think he's marketing as well and pushing it as hard, but he's still selling them, and he's going to continue to. What are your thoughts on why no one is talking about this boat? Is it a good multi-day gear haul or durable, etc.? I think people are just not talking about it because, I don't know. I have no idea. I think that Matt isn't pushing it as hard as he used to. But they're sweet boats. I paddled one a few times. It's sweet. If I'm gonna run, like, if I had to ducky the truss, the green truss, which is like class 5, I'd probably want a Cronin. I think it's a great, forgiving boat. If I had to ducky something where I was just nervous, it's very forgiving and I think it's great. And he sent me photos of him carrying a cooler in it, so it can definitely carry gear. I feel like less rocker, you can carry more gear, but they're both great. So I think it's a good multi-day gear hauler. I think Matt's proven that. And is it durable? That's the only question on them. They're PVC. So like all PVC boats, I'm going to say durability is a problem, but easy to fix. And I think Matt has he has a no-fault warranty. I don't know, for some number of years, for like 3 or 4 years. If you break it, you ship it to him, he'll fix it and ship it back. So he has an amazing warranty for sure. Any other boat suggestions? No. The problem is it's sort of like high flow PFDs. There's not a big market for multi-day inflatable kayaks. So, Air made the Backraft, which is the 9-pound inflatable kayak. It wasn't a good financial. It was an awesome boat. The Backraft is a sick boat. If you can get your hands on one, the Backraft is great. The Jimbo's better if you're going to carry a lot of gear, but the Backraft is awesome. But I think they had so many problems with them, and it was such a headache that it wasn't a good financial decision. There's the Air. Air has a couple IKs that actually work pretty well. Let me go to, let's go to Air's website. Let's actually go to Air's website and look at kayaks. So here's the Backraft. They're selling the small ones. I think they're out of the big ones, but they're only 9 pounds. I always wish there was more volume in the bow and the stern. You can see there that it's a little pointy in the bow and the stern, but not as bad as like this force. That's just ridiculous, right? So it's like a little pointy, but it can handle volume pretty well. It's not as pointy as I thought. So I don't mind the design of the Backrafts, but like this, I think for overnight trips, these pointy ends, you realistically, in my opinion, cannot put a dry bag up there. So there's that. But the Outfitter, same thing, pointy, pointy, pointy. Somewhere is the Spud of the Tater. It's going to pop up. This Traveler is interesting. I don't think I'd use that on whitewater, though. Here we go. That's the Spud, the Tater. One of these is longer. It's an adult size. This Tater isn't bad. And it's made by Tributary, $700. So Tributary is like their lower end air stuff. This is, I wish it was more blunt, but it's way better than a pointy ducky. So I think this might be the way to go for the price, $700. And Air knows what they're doing. I think this is pretty sweet. Okay. All right. Well, lots of questions, lots of comments. Holy cow. All right, here we go. Anyway, hopefully that answers that question. Let's go back to it just to see. Blunted and Kai, yeah. So, I mean, I'd probably go with that Tributary Tater. Yeah, and the Cronin's an option. PVC boats made overseas, durability and limited lifespan. But they're also they cost less. So, I don't know, in 10 years, just buy a new one. It probably, as long as you don't mind throwing stuff away, then you're fine. Okay. Questions, thoughts. Here, where are we at? 60 per full size Selway. Whoa, 60 person poops. Yeah. Okay. So that's great. That's good to know. We use it for 30, but we also let our guests pee in our toilets. I like it when people pee in them because if it's just poop, it's really hard to clean. And I don't really realistically expect everybody to walk down to the river and pee every time, especially if somebody's a little older. It's like, to ask them to pee in the river every time is a bit much. So I like it when I say, hey, I'd rather you pee in the river. It's a better place to pee. But if you feel like it's unsafe, if it's at night, just pee in the groover. And then it sloshes and it's easier to clean. So I bet if you don't pee, you could probably stuff 70 person poops in one. But that's close. I don't know. I think that would be tough. What do you guys put in the groovers up with odor? God, what's that stuff called? It's this RV stuff. It always takes me a while to remember what it's called. Man, I cannot remember. Okay, Adam, if you go to the Whitewater Guidebook forum, I know I'm asking a lot. Go to the forum, ask that question in the forum under general rafting questions. When I'm done, I will find it and put a link to it. It's this blue goo stuff that is really cool. I think I remember it. Hold on. KTB 780. Let's see if I can Google it really quick. KTB. Let's see if I can figure it out. Nope, I can't find it. Yeah, I'll have to look it up later. Sorry, there's this stuff, and it's not easy to find. Like, you can't buy it from NRS or anybody. It's stuff that we like. We had 2 EcoSafe tanks on the 6-day 11-person middle fork, but only filled one. What? 6-day 11-person middle fork. 11. So you got 55 poops in one EcoSafe tank. Which one's EcoSafe? EcoSafe toilet. I'm not sure I use that one. I mean, that's under 60. Here it is right here. Oh, let me switch it over. I've never used this one. It looks like this one was built to fit in an ammo can. That's my guess. And my guess is that NRS bought them out because it looks different. 17. Where to mold the plastic. This says 50 uses here. And you did 5 nights, 11 people, 55. So you were cutting it close there, Type 2 Adventures. Yeah, you're cutting it close. But it's good you had the backup capacity in case you needed it. Okay. Cronin designs are for multi-day. And yeah, they're cool boats. They're cool boats. Yeah. Got any recommendations for a cat frame for a 12-foot cat for day trips, mostly class 3, 4, or some class 5? Oh, Chris, we've been through this so many times with so many people. Yeah, Mad Catter is the best. Let's look at class 5 frames. Let's just go down this. Class 5 Adventure gear makes a good frame. Their Class 5 middle four frame, or the Nimbus. I don't know. These are cool. I like these. I think that's something to look at. I'd look at DRL River Gypsies. They're here in Oregon. I think for if you're not doing Class 5 and it's Class 3-4, this is a sweet frame. I think this is a nice Class 3-4 frame. It could get you down Class 5, but I'd probably get something a little better if I'm going to go get gnarly all the time. But I think they make a good frame. There's a few others. High Side. Who does High Side work with? High Side. Depends how much money you want to spend, Chris. I'm really curious about this one. Let's see. There's this company that High Side works with to make frames, or I don't know, they're friends. And see if I can find frames here. No, is it Nimbus? I think it's called Nimbus. Here we go. Nope, that's not it. Oh no, that's a Class 5 one. Here's Terrico Whitewater. This looks cool too. This is cool because it's all adjustable in here. These are all adjustable parts. So Chris, it's just such a hard one. There's so many rabbit holes we could go down. But my quick answer is, if it's for like Class 3-4, maybe some Class 5, you're probably going to be fine with that DRL frame. But if it's Class 5, I think the most proven frame right now is the Class 5 Adventure. It's in the name, Class 5 Adventure Gear. I think that's the most proven one. So, Chris, I wish I've had this discussion so many times. I wish I had a better answer. It used to just be Get Mad Catter. They're the best. But that's not the case now. Okay. I'm surprised. Whoa. Wait, the Cronin boats are in the NRS catalog? Yeah, I mean, they're out there for sure. High Side. Is that for the Ducky? I probably wouldn't get a High Side Ducky for overnight trips. I have a friend on a second Cronin who loves it. Yeah. I mean, if I had to choose any inflatable kayak for Houston Falls, it would be the Cronin. If I had to go over that drop in a Ducky, that would be the one. Peat moss, lavender, essential oil. Cool. All right, let's move on with questions. So hopefully we got to. Oh, that's it. That's the end of the questions. Not there were more. Yeah, Chris, I wish I had a better answer for you. And you're back east, so you almost want to buy a frame that's gonna break down. Let's go back to DRL. And I think so. Let's talk about DRL really quick. I have Cataraft frames, low pro. I would check out these low pro frames because they'll ship. And we use these for our rowing classes, and they work. Oh, sorry, I need to get back on that. So we use this for our rowing classes because they're super adjustable, and they break down if we need to break them down. And so they use NRS low pro fittings, and he makes the bars like all specialty made to fit the low pro fittings, and they're powder coated. And I think this is a really nice frame. And so if you have to have it shipped, you're like a pre-welded frame to ship back east would be insane. But this can break into parts, and I think I would check that out. And then also I would send an email to Better Mounts, and they're in the Grand Canyon right now. But he's making, there's crossbars now. He's making side rails, really nice crossbars and brackets and just this guy's, he's an engineer, and he's making really nice stuff. And just see what he has. Like maybe you could put together a frame based on the crossbars and side rails and the brackets. Because that could be the ticket. I think long term, if you're going to do breakdown frame, this might be the way to go, is with stuff from Better Mounts. So that's it for today. Thanks everybody for watching, for supporting the channel. Thank you all the members who have give us a few bucks a month to support the channel. We really appreciate it. And I'll be gone this Friday. I think next Monday I'm back. So either Monday or Tuesday we'll do another Q&A show. And yeah, see you next time.